This is the help video for the Chapter 3 quiz review. This first video will cover problems 1, 2, 3, and 4. So starting out, it says, given the graph of g of x above, graph each of the following. So you'll see I already made an input-output table, and I took those 5 points that were given and just went ahead and translated them over onto the input-output table. So let's start out here with number 1. Number 1, we're going to go ahead here and let's just make a new table, and we will come up with our rules for x and y. So when we look at this first one, right, when we look inside of the grouping symbols, all we have is an x. So it looks like nothing is happening to x on this one. So we're going to keep our x values. And then, when we take out that g of x and we turn it into a y, we have negative 2y plus 2. So remember, we're going to go over to the table that we already created, and our x values are going to remain the same. So we can just copy those right onto this table. Negative 5, negative 3, 0, 2, and 4. And for our y values, we are going to insert the y value from that table in for y in this expression. So, and then we'll come up with what the new value would be. So negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, plus 2 gives us 6. We've got negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, plus 2 would be negative 2. We've got 0. When we insert it, we're going to get 2 as the output. When we insert 1, we're going to end up with 0 as our output. And then when we insert negative 1, we should get 4. Now all we need to do is replot the points. So we have negative 5, positive 6, which should be right up at the very top. We've got negative 3, negative 2. We've got 0, positive 2. We have 2, 0, and then we've got 4, 4. So we'll take it here and we'll connect them in the same order. And you can see how our transformations have occurred, right? This one had a vertical shift up 2, and it was vertically stretched and flipped. So that makes sense how it kind of went from like an M shape to that W shape. All right, now let's go on to the second one. So again, we already have our original points, so we'll just take this and we will draw out our new input-output table. And when we look at, for our x values, we have 2x plus 6. So remember, we need to do the inverse of that. So when we go to write the inverse, right, I'm multiplying by 2, then adding 6, which means I need to take my x first, right? And I'm going to have to undo the adding 6 by subtracting it. And then since x was originally multiplied by 2, we have to divide everything now by 2. Now if you do 1/2 x minus 3, that's the same thing. And then, right, this is just like our y, so we're going to have 1/2 times y, or y over 2, for our y coordinates, or our y rules. So just go ahead, take your time, plug in your x values in, and then simplify. So I think we'd have negative 11 over 2, which is like negative 5.5. Plug in negative 3, we'd have negative 9 over 2, which is negative 4.5. Plug in 0, we're going to get negative 3. We're going to plug in 2 and get negative 2. And then we're going to plug in 4 and get negative 1. Okay, then we're going to take the points from our y's, right? So we're over here now, and we're going to start at the top. Negative 2 divided by 2 is going to be negative 1. Positive 2 divided by 2 is positive 1. 0 divided by 2 is 0. We've got 1 divided by 2 would be 1/2, or 0.5. And then negative 1 divided by 2 would be negative 0.5. We'll go ahead here. I'll plot these ones in blue. So we have negative 5.5, negative 1. We've got negative 4.5, positive 1. We've got negative 3, 0. Negative 2, positive 1/2. And then negative 1, negative 1/2. So we'll take that and we'll just go ahead and connect those in that same order. Shh, go away. Not right now. Yes, sir. Thank you, Bambi. Please go away. All right, so that's what our graph should look like on number 2. Let's go ahead and move down to number 3. So number 3, we are going to, he's not going to stop. I'm so sorry. Just bear with me. At least, he's not sitting next to you doing this. We're going to take this one now. We need to set up our new rules. So we have y is equal to g of 3 minus x. So one thing I know I've talked to a few of you about there when we're trying to come up with the inverses, I think some of us may see this a little bit easier if we look at it as negative x plus 3. Right? So it's like we're going to multiply x times negative 1, then we're going to add 3. So then if we're going to do the inverse, right, we're going to have to take x, we're going to have to subtract 3. And then we're going to divide it all by negative 1, or multiply it all by negative 1. And what we actually end up doing here, right, if we do that, I'm just going to move this up. This is actually going to end up flipping the signs on both of our things in the numerator, and it actually looks exactly the same, negative x plus 3. Okay, and then our y rule should be y minus 1. Okay, so let's go ahead there and apply those rules to our original x coordinates. Remember, you're still way up here, right, using these points. So negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Negative 3 plus 3 is going to be 0. We've got 0 plus 3, right, is going to be 3. We've got, oh, hold on, did I goof that up? We should have had negative 5 plus 3 should have been 8. My bad. I got a little bit of a distraction here, so let's go back there. So the opposite of negative 5 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8, so this should be an 8. Then we got that negative 3, so the opposite of negative 3 is 3, plus 3 is 6. The opposite of 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. The opposite of 2 is negative 2 plus 3 is 1. And then the opposite of 4 is negative 4 plus 3 would be negative 1. So sorry, I botched that there. Now let's go with our y coordinates. So we're going to plug in each of the y coordinates right here. So when we take negative 2 minus 1 gives us negative 3. We've got 2 minus 1 is 1. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. And then negative 1 minus 1 would be negative 2. And then go ahead and just plot those, right? So 8, negative 3. We've got 6, positive 1. 3, negative 1. 1, 0. And then negative 1, negative 2. So I'll just go ahead and connect these so you can see what your graph looks like right there. I'll try to bold those a little bit. So that one had a horizontal flip in it there, and it was just shifted down 1. And we went over to our right 3. So the next part is going to, I don't know, some people get a little confused on this one. All this one's saying here is we want to graph the inverse of our original function. So since we already have our table of points up there, right, at the top, we are going to end up flipping our x and y coordinates, right? That's what happens with our inverses. So go ahead and copy your original y's, the ones that are highlighted in pink up here, right? So we're going to copy those down for x. That would be negative 2, 2, 0, 1, and negative 1. And then our original x coordinates will now be our y's. So negative 5, negative 3, 0, 2, and 4. And now we'll go ahead and plot those. So negative 2, negative 5. We've got 2, negative 3. We've got 0, 0, 1, 2, and negative 1, 4. And then remember, we got to plot those or connect them in the same order we plotted them. So we went from this one to this one to that one to this one to that one. And that is our inverse of function g. So if you have any additional questions on any of these ones, please make sure you reach out to me. Send me a remind message or an email, and I'd be happy to respond and help you out however I can. All right, thanks for watching.